Given that y equals minus 3x squared plus 8x minus 7, find dy by dx from first principles. Personally, with first principles, I like to use the notation f of x. So I'm going to state that f of x is equal to this expression here, minus 3x squared plus 8x minus 7. Then going to state that f of x plus h is equal to the same expression, simply replacing x with x plus h. So 3x plus h squared plus 8x plus h minus 7. So expanding these brackets, I get minus 3 lots of x squared plus 2hx plus h squared plus 8x plus 8h minus 7. And finally, final expansion, I get minus 3x squared minus 6hx plus, that should be a minus 3h squared plus 8x plus 8h minus 7. Next, I want to calculate f of x plus h minus f of x. We don't necessarily need to write out the whole subtraction, as long as we've indicated this is what we're doing. So I'm going to get minus 3x squared minus 3x squared, they cancel. Minus 6hx will remain. I then get minus 3h squared, that will remain. 8x minus 8x will cancel. 8h will remain. And minus 7 minus minus 7 will cancel. And if I just quickly in blue underline each one of my f of x, you'll notice it has a paired term in my f of x plus h. And so they cancel out and it leaves terms containing h. And so any term not containing h gets cancelled out, and all the terms that should remain contain h. Now the reason for this is when we come to our second step, I actually have to divide everything by h, so they need to have a factor of h within them. So dividing this term here by h, I get minus 6x. Dividing my second term here, this is 3h squared, apologies, so I get minus 3h. Dividing 8h by h, I get 8. Finally, just want to state dy by dx is given as the limit as h tends to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h equal to. So what happens here is any term with a factor of h will go to 0 because it's going to be end up as 3 as a number times 0. So the minus 6x remains. 3h becomes minus 3 times 0, so it disappears, and then plus 8 remains because there's no h in it. And if we just go back to the original expression and think about what would happen if I differentiate it, 2 times minus 3 is 6, so we get 6x decrease the power 6x to the power of 1, which is what I have here. And then differentiating the 8x, I get left with 8, and differentiating the constant, it disappears. So it looks like to me, and I just do a little double tick to confirm to myself, actually, yes, I have actually answered this question correctly. So how are marks awarded in this question? Well, depending on the notation you've used, if you've got the equivalent of f of x plus h, so having to put that in here, whether you're using x plus delta x or whatever notation you're using, you get a B1 standalone mark. If you have subtracted f of x plus h minus f of x, you get a method mark. And if you come out as the correct answer of minus 6hx minus 3h squared plus 8h plus 8h, you get an answer mark. Finally, we get a method mark if you have divided by h and let h tend to 0. And then finally, the last absolute final mark is an answer mark here if you've got to the expression minus 6x plus 8, and this is a correct answer only. Okay, well, let's look at part B. I've got another fresh slide just so, so part B, differentiate 9x to the power of 5 over 4 minus 8 over root 3x. So Just going to make it clear when I'm doing this. First of all, y equals 9x to the 5 over 4. And then, so I just want to rewrite this using a negative index and a fraction. So underneath here, this is the same as x to the power of a third. And because it's a reciprocal, it means that this is 8x to the power of minus a third. So notice that I've labelled it with a y to make it clear that I am rewriting this expression. I haven't actually differentiated it. So then finishing off, dy by dx, multiply the coefficient by the power, I get 45 over 4. X, decrease the power by 1, so I'm going to take the denominator from the numerator, so take the bottom from the top, I get the power of a quarter. Then the second term, minus a third times minus 8, will give me plus 8 thirds. X, decrease the power by 1, so again I'm going to take the bottom away from the top, so minus 1 take away 3 gives me minus 4 thirds. And I have differentiated the expression given to us. Okay, how do we get marks in this question? Well, the first mark is a B1 standalone if we've got the first term correct, and then the second mark is a B1 standalone if you've got the second term correct, and these must be completely matching to what we have here once you've tied it up. Okay, well, I hope you understood my explanations and that you understand how to mark your work.